Welcome to Anointed's journey, chosen ones. Have you ever walked into a room full of people, laughter bouncing from wall to wall, conversations flowing like a river, yet deep inside you felt like you were standing on a different shore, as if you were present but not really part of it? Have you ever looked around at friends or even family members and thought, why do I see things they don't see? Why do I feel things they seem to ignore? Why does my heart react so differently than theirs? From the earliest days of your life, you've known you were not like everyone else. You noticed details others missed. You carried questions that seemed too heavy for your age. You felt pain more deeply, joy more intensely, silence more sharply. And as you grew older, you did everything you could to bury that difference. You learned how to laugh when others laughed, how to nod when they nodded, how to silence the voice inside you that kept whispering, you were made for something else. You tried to squeeze yourself into the mold the world offered you, but no matter how hard you pressed, you never quite fit. You wore the clothes, you copied the trends, you spoke the language of the crowd, but in the quiet of your soul you always knew, this isn't me. And every time you almost convinced yourself you belonged, something disrupted it. A dream, a conviction, a spiritual stirring that reminded you, you are set apart. And though sometimes you tried to silence that truth, God would not let. You forget it because He Himself wrote it into your very being. Chosen one, the reason you feel different is because you are different, not by accident, but by divine design. Before your body had breath, before your name was ever spoken on earth, heaven marked you with a seal of distinction. You were not made to blend in. You were not made to disappear in the crowd. You were not made to live a quiet, ordinary life that leaves no ripple. You were designed with an assignment too heavy for conformity, too sacred for compromise, too eternal for the temporary comforts this world offers. That inner restlessness you carry, that constant tugging inside your chest, is not brokenness. It is evidence of eternity breathing through your soul. God placed His fingerprint on you, and fingerprints cannot be erased. That is why you wrestle when others are comfortable, why you question what others accept, why you hunger for depth when others are satisfied with shallow pleasures. And yes, it often hurts. Being different often feels like rejection. You know, the sting of being misunderstood by the very people you thought would celebrate you. You've walked through the loneliness of being left out, the ache of hearing words that labeled you too much or not enough. You've sat in silence, after sharing your heart, realizing the people listening could not carry the weight of what you were saying. And in those moments you wondered, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I should shrink. Maybe I should silence this part of me that no one understands. But hear this. What you thought was rejection was actually protection. God was not punishing you. He was shielding you. He closed doors you tried to pry open because what was on the other side would have suffocated your calling. He allowed people to walk away because their presence would have dimmed your fire. He let certain groups mock you because their acceptance would have cost you your anointing. Every no you received was heaven's way of protecting the yes over your life. If you had been welcomed into every circle, you would have lost yourself in their sameness. If you had been applauded by everyone, you would have settled for shallow approval instead of eternal purpose. Your difference is heaven's way of saying, this one cannot be contained. And though the world may try to convince you that you're strange, that you're broken, that you're missing something, heaven declares that you're carrying more than most can comprehend. Others can compromise and still sleep peacefully, but you cannot. Others can ignore conviction and carry on, but you cannot. Others can bury their gifts and live quietly, but you cannot. That inability to settle is not weakness, it is destiny. You were created to be a vessel of light in a world that loves shadows. You were formed with a frequency that collides with complacency, That's why you make people uncomfortable without saying a word. Your spirit stirs them, your presence tests them, your very being reminds them of the God they've tried to forget. And yes, this makes life heavier, but chosen one, never despise the weight, because the weight is proof of the oil you carry. God never pours his anointing into vessels desperate to blend in. He pours it into those willing to be set apart. And you have been willing, even when it hurt, even when you cried alone, even when you begged God to make you ordinary. Heaven saw it all. Heaven whispered, "This one is mine." And that whisper is why you are still here, why you still feel the pull, why no matter how far you wander, you can never escape the truth. You were made different on purpose. But chosen one, with this difference comes a cost, and you know it well. You have felt the weight of loneliness when others walked away, not because you did something wrong, but because your light was too bright for the shadows they wanted to hide in. You have carried the frustration of being misread, of having your passion labeled as arrogance, your discernment mocked as paranoia, your sensitivity dismissed as weakness. You have endured seasons where you begged God to explain why your road felt narrower, steeper, and lonelier than everyone else's. And yet, even in those moments of doubt, something inside you would not let go, because your spirit knew that what felt like isolation was actually consecration. God set you apart not to punish you, but to prepare you. He allowed rejection to shape you because the weight of your assignment cannot be carried by those desperate for acceptance. He allowed misunderstandings to strengthen you because your calling requires resilience to stand when no one claps. He allowed loneliness to teach you that His presence is enough, so that when the world turns its back, you will not collapse under the loss. And here is the truth you must hold on to. The very things that made you feel different are the very things that qualify you. Your tears have baptized your calling. Your silence has refined your wisdom. Your wounds have deepened your compassion. You thought being different disqualified you, but heaven knew it made you the perfect vessel. Because God does not choose the ones who look like everyone else. He chooses the ones who refuse to betray what He placed inside them, even if it costs them comfort. And though you may sometimes envy those who seem to live easy lives, blending in without conflict, do not forget that those who blend never shift atmospheres. Those who settle never birth movements. Those who compromise never break chains. You were not created to survive quietly. You were created to disrupt the darkness, to bring heaven's fragrance into earthly spaces, to embody eternity in the middle of the temporary. That is why your presence has always stirred reactions. Some are drawn to you, some resist you, some cannot explain why they love you, and others cannot explain why they despise you. It is not about you, it is about the God shining through you. You are carrying a light that exposes what others try to hide, and exposure always provokes reaction. But do not let their reactions trick you into shrinking. Do not let their confusion convince you to compromise. God made you different because your difference is the key to your destiny. And as you walk forward, you must learn to embrace it fully, without apology. Stop asking for permission to be who God made you. Stop trying to dilute your fire so that others feel comfortable in your presence. Stop despising the very traits that heaven celebrates. Instead, lean into them. Pray into them. Let them guide you. Let your discernment keep you from traps. Let your sensitivity open doors of compassion. Let your vision pull you toward places the crowd cannot see. The very thing you wished away in your weakness is the very thing God will use in your strength. And hear this, God will never waste your difference. He will use it to draw the right people to you, the ones who don't just tolerate you, but understand you. He will use it to protect you from counterfeit relationships, exposing those who cannot walk with you into your next season. He will use it to open doors that remain shut to everyone else. because only someone carrying what you carry can unlock them. And one day you will look back on the seasons where you felt strange, unworthy, misplaced, and you will see that they were the seasons God was shaping you into the vessel He needed. Chosen one, your difference is not something to fix, it is something to honor. It is heaven's signature on your soul. It is the proof that you were designed not to blend, but to stand, not to conform, but to transform, not to hide, but to shine. So walk boldly in it. Hold your head high even when the world shakes its head at you. Speak the truth even when your voice trembles. Carry the light even when the darkness surrounds you. Because every step you take in your difference is a step closer to the destiny God carved out for you before time began. You were made different because you were made eternal, and no temporary rejection, no human misunderstanding, no earthly mockery can erase what heaven placed inside you. So the next time you wonder why you can't fit in, why you can't settle, why you can't just be like everyone else, remember this. It is because you were never meant to. You were meant to stand out, to carry the mark of God, to live as proof that His chosen ones are not of this world, even while they walk through it. And when the world sees you, let them see someone unapologetically different, someone fully alive in their calling, someone who knows that the very thing that once felt like a burden is in fact the greatest blessing of all.